The Secret Garden, Chapter 16. A Young Raja. The next day, the rain was still pouring down, and the moor was hidden in mist. It was not a good day for going outdoors. Mary had to wait until the afternoon to talk to Martha, who was busy walking. At last, Martha came to Mary's room. The two girls sat by the fire, and Martha took out her knitting. I found out what that crying was, Mary announced. Martha let her knitting fall on her lap. You haven't. I heard it last night when I go up to see where it was coming from. I met Colin. Oh no, everyone would think I told you. Well, he is. Martha started to cry. I'll lose my job here, and what will mother do? We need my wages. You won't lose your job. We talked and talked. He showed me the picture of his mother, and I sang him to sleep. I think he liked me. Martha could not believe this. Colin was a bad-tempered, spoiled boy who didn't like anyone. You must have bewitched him. Mary shook her head. I heard about magic in India, but I can't make any. He seems to believe he's dying. Do you think he'll really die? Mother says all children need fresh air. Martha started picking up her knitting again, but all that boy does is lie in bed all day looking at books and taking medicine. Mary stared at the fire. I wonder, she said slowly, if it would do him good to go outside in a garden and watch things growing. I know it did me good. Before Martha could answer, a bell rang and she stood up. That's probably his nurse wanting me to sit with him. Martha returned in a few minutes. Well, you have bewitched him. He's sitting up on a sofa with his picture books. He told the nurse to stay away until 6 o'clock. She wants you to come see him. Mary followed Martha to Colin's room. She was surprised that the room looked so beautiful in the daylight and that Colin looked less pale. Come here, he said after Martha left. I've been thinking of you today. I've been thinking of you too. Mary told him how afraid Martha was that she would lose her job. Tell her to come here. Mary went into the next room and brought a very frightened Martha. Must everyone in this house do as I please? Colin asked sternly. Yes, sir, said Martha. Then, if I order you to bring Mary to me, no one can send you away. No, sir. I just want to do my duty, sir. I want you to do your duty too. I'll take care of you. Now go away. Martha got outside and left the room. Why are you looking at me like that? Why are you looking at me like that? Colin demanded of Mary. One time I saw a boy who was a Raja, an Indian prince. He spoke to his people just as you spoke to Martha. If they didn't instantly obey him, they would have been killed. You are so different from Dickon. Dickon, who's that? Mary told him all about Martha's brother and how he charmed the birds and animals with his music. He knows about everything that grows or lives on the moor. Oh, he can be like how can he like that dreary moor? Mary protested. It's the most beautiful place. I didn't like it at first, but now I do. You might even like it if you go out. How could I go out on the walk? I'm going to die. I don't like talking about dying. Let's talk about digging and then we'll look at your picture books. There's one thing we haven't talked about. Your cousin. For a few hours, the two children talked and laughed like ordinary 10-year-olds. Suddenly, the door opened and in walked Dr. Craven and Mrs. Medlock. Dr. Craven looked startled. What's going on here? He asked. Oh, I don't know how this happened. Mrs. Medlock was frustrated. Colin explained how Mary has found him in the night before. And now we will have our tea here together. Dr. Craven did not look pleased at the news, but he didn't dare oppose his young patient. I'm afraid you have too much excitement today. I'm better today, Colin said firmly. Mary makes me better. Mrs. Medlock and Dr. Craven looked at each other in a troubled way, but there wasn't anything they could do. Still, Dr. Craven was full of warnings for Colin. Don't talk too much. Don't forget you are ill. And don't forget you tire easily. Colin stared hard at Dr. Craven. I want to forget those things. Mary makes me forget, and that's why I want her to be here. Dr. Craven looked very unhappy when he left the room.